Unlock the secrets of the forbidden movement and discover the ancient alchemy that allows you to move like a god. This wisdom transforms every gesture into a prayer of power, dissolving the weight of years. Step into the sacred flow and command the energy of your existence. The Forbidden Movement. Introduction. In the eternal dance of existence, you carry within you a sacred rhythm, an ageless pulse that transcends the mere counting of years. This wisdom echoes through the corridors of time, whispered by those who discovered that age is not a sentence but a suggestion. The ancient ones knew that youth dwells not in the surface of things, but in the depth of being. The body you inhabit is more than flesh and bone. It is a living temple of energy, responsive to the vibrations of your thoughts and the quality of your movement. When you align with the natural flow of life force, chronological time loses its grip on your experience. This is not about denying the passage of time, but about riding its currents with grace and mastery. The secrets of ageless living lie not in external remedies, but in internal alchemy. Your cells respond to joy as flowers turn toward the sun. Each moment of genuine delight broadcasts a signal through your entire being, refreshing and renewing every molecule. Purpose acts as a fountain of youth, not through magic, but through the life-giving force of meaning itself. Conscious movement becomes a prayer, each gesture a celebration of life's eternal present. The ancient monks understood this. Their movements were not exercises, but expressions of divine connection. They moved as though their bodies were instruments of light, and in doing so, transcended the ordinary boundaries of age. You already possess this wisdom in your bones. Every child knows it before the world teaches forgetfulness. The key is not in learning something new, but in remembering something timeless. Your body knows how to move with the lightness of spirit. It is simply waiting for your permission to remember. This is the forbidden movement, the dance of spirit expressing through form, where age becomes irrelevant and vitality flows not from the calendar, but from the eternal now. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening Within. Chapter 1. The Silent Step. In the quiet hours of dawn, a weary soul named Amelia walked the empty streets, her feet heavy with the weight of endless tasks and mounting responsibilities. Each step felt mechanical, devoid of spirit, until the morning stillness whispered an ancient truth. As the first rays of sunlight painted the cobblestones, she noticed how her footsteps created a gentle rhythm, a hidden music that had always been there, waiting to be discovered. The universe speaks through motion, and in that moment, Amelia understood that every step could be a bridge between the ordinary and the sacred. Her awareness shifted from the destination to the journey itself, and with this simple change, vitality began to flow through her being, like a spring river, breaking free from winter's grip. This truth echoes in the tale of Benjamin, an elderly craftsman who transformed his daily chores into ceremonies of presence. Each morning, he would sweep his workshop floor with the same reverence an artist gives to their masterpiece. His broom became a brush, the floor his canvas, and the dust his medium. People would watch in wonder as this simple act seemed to erase decades from his movements. When asked about his secret, he would smile and say, I am not sweeping away dust. I am painting with the breath of the universe. The power lies not in what you do, but in how you do it. When movement becomes meditation, fatigue dissolves into flow. Your body knows this ancient wisdom. It remembers the dance of creation that flows through all things. Each gesture can become a celebration of life's endless renewal. Sacred practice, the symphony of conscious movement. As you move through your day, transform each action into a prayer of presence. Begin with your morning routine. Feel the ground beneath your feet as you walk. Let your arms float like wind-touched branches as you reach for objects. Place your attention in your joints, first your ankles, then your knees, finally your breath. Notice how each movement creates ripples in the air around you, how your body naturally finds its rhythm when you release the rush. Let each step become a note in the day's melody. Feel how the air parts and embraces you as you move, how it supports and carries your intention. Watch as tiredness transforms into a dance of energy when movement becomes conscious creation rather than unconscious obligation. This is the forbidden movement, not a technique to be mastered, but a remembrance of your natural state of flowing grace. In this practice, you rediscover that energy is not something to acquire, but rather an ever-present song, waiting for you to join its eternal chorus. Chapter 2. Breath of the Mountain. You may have noticed how shallow breathing accompanies moments of depletion, while expansive breath awakens dormant vitality. This truth unveiled itself to Sophia one misty morning as she stood atop a windswept hill. Her artist's hands, once dancing with inspiration, had grown heavy with exhaustion. Yet as she watched her breath merge with the morning fog, wisdom stirred within. Each exhale became a brushstroke across the canvas of dawn, invisible yet potent. In that moment, Sophia understood. Breath is not merely air moving through lungs, but the magnetic current that transforms thought into physical reality. As her breathing deepened, so too did her connection to the creative force that pulses through all life. The breath holds mysteries the ancients understood well. It serves as the bridge between the seen and unseen realms, between intention and manifestation. When you breathe fully, you open channels through which universal energy flows. This is why masters of every tradition begin with the breath. It is the key that unlocks the door to vital force. This wisdom revealed itself differently to Thomas, whose garden had become a temple of breathing meditation. One summer morning, while tending to his roses, he noticed something extraordinary. His breath was leading his movements, not following them. Each gesture flowed from the rhythm of his breathing rather than conscious thought. His fatigue dissolved as he allowed breath to guide his body in its natural dance. What Thomas discovered was a fundamental truth. Vitality is your natural state. It does not abandon you. Rather, it retreats into the shallow spaces of constricted breathing, waiting patiently to be remembered and reclaimed. When breath expands, spirit expands. When spirit expands, life force flows abundantly. The ancient ones knew that breath is more than biological function. It is the very essence of animation, the spirit made tangible. Through conscious breathing, they maintained a state of perpetual renewal. Their secret was not in fighting against time, but in breathing in harmony with the eternal rhythm that moves through all things. Sacred practice, the breath of life. Find a quiet space where you can sit undisturbed. Allow your awareness to rest gently on your breath. Notice its natural rhythm without trying to change it. Gradually, let each breath become slightly deeper, as though you are filling an infinite inner space. Feel how your breath moves, not just your lungs, but your entire being. With each inhale, sense yourself drawing in pure life force. With each exhale, feel yourself releasing all that dims your natural radiance. Let your breath become an ally in awakening inner vitality. Continue until you feel lightness spreading through your body, as though each cell is being bathed in renewal. This is the way the ancient ones moved through time, not by resisting it, but by breathing in such profound harmony with life that age became irrelevant. Through this practice, you reclaim your inheritance of natural vitality, one breath at a time. Chapter 3. The Mirror Garden. The breath holds mysteries the ancients understood well. It serves as the bridge between the seen and unseen realms, between intention and manifestation. When you breathe fully, you open channels through which universal energy flows. This is why masters of every tradition begin with the breath. It is the key that unlocks the door to vitality. Take note of how nature herself breathes. Mountains inhale mist and exhale clarity. Oceans rise and fall in cosmic rhythm. The wind whispers secrets of eternal motion. By aligning your breath with these natural cadences, you tap into the same force that keeps stars spinning and flowers opening to the dawn. In the gardens of the East, there lived a woman named Annie who witnessed this truth through her beloved flowers. As weeks passed in negligent haste, her garden began to wither, its colors growing dim. She noticed her own spirit had similarly faded, like a painting left too long in harsh sun. One morning, something shifted. As she held the watering can, Annie slowed her movements, allowing gratitude to flow with the water. Each drop became a blessing, each plant a recipient of conscious care. Gradually, both garden and gardener transformed. The flowers lifted their heads, petals brightening as though painted anew. Annie's own energy flourished in tandem, her vitality returning like spring after winter. Through this simple act of mindful tending, she discovered the ancient truth. Our outer world mirrors our inner state with perfect fidelity. This wisdom found another voice through Lester, who confronted his reflection one foggy morning. Age had etched its story across his face, yet as he gazed into his own eyes, he chose to smile. In that moment, something remarkable occurred. Youth flickered behind the wrinkles, not as a physical change, but as an inner light breaking through. His perception shifted, and reality followed suit, revealing that age is more fluid than fixed, more responsive to spirit than bound by time. These stories illuminate a fundamental truth. The energy you seek already resides within you, waiting to be remembered rather than discovered. Your breath, your attention, your gratitude, these are the tools of transformation. Sacred practice. Find a mirror or any reflective surface. Even a still pool of water will serve. Stand before it and meet your own gaze with gentleness. Allow a smile to form naturally, as though greeting a beloved friend. Let this smile deepen until it reaches your eyes, then your heart. Feel how tension begins to dissolve, how your muscles remember their natural state of ease. Maintain this connection for several breaths, allowing joy to ripple through your being until every cell awakens to its own light. Chapter 4. Rivers Remember. Along a winding stream where ancient willows dipped their fingers into crystal waters, there lived a woman named Dora. Each morning she would perch upon a moss-covered stone by the water's edge, lost in thoughts of time's relentless march. Yet while her mind wandered through mazes of worry, the stream beside her sang an unending song of wisdom. One dawn, as sunlight dappled the water's surface, Dora's thoughts grew quiet enough to hear what the stream had always whispered. Nothing endures except flow itself. In that moment of pure listening, the tension she had carried in her shoulders for years began to dissolve like morning mist. The stream teaches what sages have known through ages, that movement itself is the antidote to stagnation. You need not fight against time's current. Instead, learn to move with its eternal dance. When you resist life's flow, you create friction that wears upon body and spirit. But when you surrender to the graceful momentum of existence, you discover an ageless vitality that transcends physical years. In a humble kitchen across the valley lived Walter, a man who believed his dancing days were long behind him. One evening, as he prepared his solitary supper, a favorite melody drifted from his old radio. Without thinking, his feet began to move, awkwardly at first, then with increasing freedom. As he twirled between counter and stove, something remarkable occurred. Laughter bubbled up from deep within, washing away weeks of accumulated fatigue more thoroughly than any amount of rest could achieve. The wisdom revealed through Walter's spontaneous dance speaks to a fundamental truth. Joy is not the result of energy, it is its source. When you move with light-hearted acceptance, you tap into an endless wellspring of vitality that no calendar can diminish. In these stories lies a powerful key to ageless living. Resilience comes not through rigid resistance, but through elastic flow. Like a river wearing smooth the sharpest stones, fluid movement transforms obstacles into stepping stones. The body knows this innate wisdom. It is your mind that must remember. Practice flow with mundane motions. Pour coffee, sweep floors, stretch arms with playful abandon, and imagine the river inside you, curving joyfully. Let each simple action become a celebration of movement itself. Feel how your energy shifts when you approach routine tasks as opportunities for fluid expression rather than burdens to be endured. Chapter 5. The Inner Lantern. In the depths of an ancient valley where morning mists swirled like dancers, a woman named Mabel awakened to discover her spirit had grown dim. Though her body moved through familiar routines, something essential seemed missing, that ineffable spark that makes life shimmer with possibility. One dawn, as shadows still clung to her window panes, Mabel sat in stillness and closed her eyes. Following an intuition as old as breath itself, she imagined a golden light kindling within her chest. To her amazement, warmth began to spread through her limbs, as though the mere act of visualization had awakened dormant vitality. This reveals one of the universe's most potent secrets, that the images we hold within shape the reality we experience without. Your body responds to what your mind perceives as truth. When you envision radiance within, your nervous system aligns with that vision, sending signals of renewal through every cell and sinew. The power of this principle reveals itself in countless ways. Consider Floyd, a merchant who carried the weight of an ancient grudge like stones in his pockets. For years, resentment had dimmed his eyes and slowed his step. Then, one morning, moved by wisdom he could not name, he penned a letter of forgiveness to his former friend. As he released those words onto paper, something extraordinary occurred. The fatigue that had haunted him for years lifted like morning fog burning away in sunlight. This reveals another facet of the same truth. Forgiveness is not merely a moral act, but a physical liberation. When you release the grip of old hurts, you free not just your heart, but your very cells from the burden of holding on. Mercy, it seems, rejuvenates both the forgiver and the forgiven. The law at work here transcends simple cause and effect. Your thoughts and feelings are not separate from your physical form. They are the architects of your vitality. Every visualization of light, every act of forgiveness, every moment of conscious choosing becomes a command that your body joyfully obeys. This wisdom has been whispered by sages through the ages. Your inner radiance is not something to be created but remembered. It dwells within you always, waiting only for your recognition to burst forth into expression. Ancient practice. Sit quietly and envision a golden light glowing behind your heart. Let this inner sun guide your movements throughout the day, illuminating each gesture as an act of trust. Feel its warmth flowing through your limbs, awakening vitality with every step. This is not mere imagination, but the activation of your body's innate wisdom, calling forth the light that has always lived within you. Chapter 6. The Whisper of Deciding. Within you dwells a light of infinite potential, a radiance that transcends the illusion of time. This truth reveals itself through the wisdom passed down by those who understood the sacred relationship between thought and manifestation. Let us unveil the ancient knowledge that your very thoughts command the energy that flows through your form. When you hold an image of inner light, your body responds as though touched by the sun itself. This is not mere metaphor, but a law as certain as gravity, known to masters throughout the ages. The power of visualization reaches beyond the realm of imagination into the very fabric of your physical being. As you picture this golden light within your chest, notice how your breath naturally deepens, how your shoulders settle into ease, how warmth begins to circulate through your limbs. This is the language your body understands, the language of light and energy that preceded words themselves. In a village among rolling hills, there lived a woman named Hattie. Year after year she carried dreams in her heart like unplanted seeds, waiting for the perfect moment to give them life. Each morning she would say, "Tomorrow," until one remarkable afternoon when something shifted within her spirit. Standing in her garden, watching shadows lengthen across the earth, she spoke a single word that changed everything. Now. In that instant, energy surged through her being like a river breaking through a dam. Her declaration had done what no amount of waiting could accomplish. It had aligned her will with the universe's power to manifest. This is the hidden truth. Decision itself is a force that organizes universal currents, drawing to you the very essence of what you choose. A similar awakening came to Orville, a merchant who had always yearned to play the harmonica. For years he kept one in his desk drawer, untouched, telling himself he was too old to learn. Each day he would glance at it, until finally he made the choice that transformed not only his music but his mind. From the moment he committed to learning, His mental clarity sharpened, his memory strengthened, and vitality flowed into areas of his life he thought had grown dull with time. These stories illuminate a fundamental principle. Mood follows clarity of purpose. When you declare your intention with conviction, the universe conspires to support your choice. This is not mystical thinking, but practical wisdom, the kind that has guided seekers through the ages. The light within you grows stronger with each decisive moment. Just as a lantern's flame grows steadier in still air, your inner radiance strengthens when you align thought, word, and action in clear purpose. This is how the ancients maintained their vitality, not through denial of age, but through unwavering clarity of intention. Practice. The declaration of now. Each morning, as the world awakens to new light, whisper aloud one choice, no matter how small. Let your voice carry the weight of certainty, for in that moment you reclaim command of your destiny. Feel how age itself bows before the power of your decision. This is not merely speaking words. It is awakening the ancient power that lies dormant within your voice, waiting to be summoned into service of your highest purpose. Chapter 7. The Laugh That Heals. In a small village among ancient hills, there lived an old woman who spent her days weaving baskets. Each morning she would rise, her joints protesting the movement, her spirit heavy with the weight of years. Until one morning, something extraordinary happened that would unveil a forgotten truth. As she worked at her craft, the radio beside her crackled to life. Through the static came not music, but the voice of a comedian whose words painted such absurd pictures that Bee found herself doing something she hadn't done in years, laughing. First, it was just a small chuckle, but soon it grew into waves of uncontrollable mirth that shook her entire being. As she laughed, something miraculous occurred. The stiffness in her fingers melted away, and her back straightened as though touched by unseen hands. This is the sacred wisdom that time has whispered through the ages. Laughter is not merely an expression of joy, but a force that realigns the very fabric of your physical form. When you laugh, energy flows through pathways long forgotten, dissolving the blocks that age and worry have built within your tissues. The universe speaks through such moments of spontaneous delight. Each burst of laughter sends ripples through your cellular memory, awakening the remembrance of boundless vitality. Your body knows this truth. It is written in the language of endorphins and neural pathways that dance to the rhythm of joy. Consider the tale of Clyde, a merchant who received a parking ticket on a rainy afternoon. At first, his face darkened with frustration, but then something shifted in his perspective. Looking at the soggy paper, he began to laugh at the absurdity of it all. In that moment of surrender to mirth, the tension in his shoulders released, and a weight he didn't know he carried lifted from his spirit. These stories reveal an ageless secret. Joy is not the result of freedom from life's challenges. It is the key that unlocks your liberation from them. When you choose to laugh in the face of life's small adversities, you engage in a subtle rebellion against the very concept of decline. Your body awaits this medicine of mirth. It stands ready to transform through the alchemy of laughter, to remember its natural state of ease and flow. This is not frivolity. It is powerful medicine known to the wise ones who understood that a laughing heart cannot grow old in the ways that matter most. Sacred practice. Each day, Seek out something that sparks your laughter, a playful moment, a gentle joke, or even the simple absurdities of daily life. Let your laughter ring out freely, feeling how it massages your spirit and melts away tension. Notice how your body responds to this practice, how it softens and remembers its natural state of fluidity. Make this your daily ritual, for in choosing to laugh, you choose to remain in motion, vibrant and alive. Chapter 8. The Dance of Belonging. Laughter is not merely a response to humor. It is an ancient medicine, a sacred key that unlocks the body's own healing wisdom. When you laugh, you tap into a power that has sustained humanity through countless generations. The vibration of joy literally restructures the physical form, releasing tension that has gathered in your muscles and joints. Consider how a belly laugh moves through your entire being. It begins in your core and ripples outward like waves on a still pond. This movement is not random, but follows the precise patterns that the universe uses to maintain harmony. When you laugh freely, you align yourself with this cosmic rhythm. In the village marketplace, Clyde discovered this truth quite by accident. Upon finding a parking ticket on his windshield, typically a source of frustration, he chose instead to laugh at the absurdity of the moment. As the sound escaped his lips, something shifted within him. The tension in his shoulders dissolved, and a lightness filled his chest. This simple act of laughter had transformed his state of being. But the power of laughter extends beyond the individual. Like ripples in a pond, its effects touch all those within its reach. In ancient healing temples, laughter ceremonies were conducted to restore balance to entire communities. The wise ones knew that shared laughter creates bonds stronger than any physical medicine. This wisdom lives on in the body's memory. When you laugh, your cells dance with renewed energy. The very vibration of your laughter massages your internal organs, increases oxygen flow, and releases healing compounds throughout your system. It is a technology of transformation that requires no external tools or complex understanding. You need not wait for spontaneous laughter to experience these benefits. The sages taught that intentional laughter carries the same power as that which arises naturally. By choosing to laugh, you command your body's healing response into action. Sacred practice. Each morning upon waking, stand before a mirror and begin with a gentle smile. Let it grow naturally into a soft chuckle, then allow it to build into full, hearty laughter. Continue for several minutes, paying attention to how the vibration moves through your body. Feel the tensions dissolve, the energy rise, and notice how your face softens and your eyes brighten. This practice, done regularly, will awaken the healing power that sleeps within your own joy. Remember, the universe itself was born of joy, and when you laugh, you align yourself with this primordial force of creation. Your laughter is not merely a response to life, it is life itself, expressing through you in its purest form. Chapter 9. The Listening Body. In the dance of life, your body speaks an ancient language, one that whispers truths through sensation, through subtle signals that arrive long before exhaustion takes hold. This wisdom echoes through time, carried in the cells of every being who has walked this earth. Let us speak of Clara, who moved through her days like a warrior charging into battle. Each morning she pushed against fatigue, ignoring the quiet pleas of her muscles and joints. More, she demanded of herself. faster, stronger, longer, until one day her body could no longer sustain this war against itself. In the stillness of forced rest, Clara discovered something remarkable. When she finally listened to her body's whispers, the slight tightness in her shoulders, the gentle protest in her lower back, she found that these were not signs of weakness, but messages of wisdom. By honoring these subtle signals, she unlocked a wellspring of natural vitality that no amount of forcing could produce. The universal law reveals itself. Force diminishes while gentleness amplifies. Your body is not an adversary to be conquered, but a temple of infinite intelligence. When you listen to its quiet counsel, you align with the natural rhythms that sustain all life. Rufus uncovered this truth while tending his garden. As he knelt among his vegetables, he felt a familiar ache in his knees. Instead of pushing through as he always had, he paused. He noticed how the earth itself seemed to suggest a different way of moving, a gentle rocking motion that worked in harmony with his body rather than against it. As he matched his movements to this natural rhythm, something extraordinary occurred. The stiffness that had plagued him began to dissolve. His work became effortless, guided by an inner knowing that spoke through sensation rather than thought. This is the sacred truth. Your body holds the wisdom of ages. It knows precisely how to move, how to heal, how to thrive. But this wisdom speaks in whispers, not shouts. It requires the art of listening, of yielding to the intelligence that flows through every cell. The practice. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Close your eyes and allow your attention to drift through your body like a gentle stream. Notice the subtle messages. A slight tension here, a soft pulsing there. Move only when your body invites movement, never forcing or demanding. Let each motion arise from gratitude for this temple of flesh and bone that carries your spirit. Remember, movement born of reverence regenerates, while movement born of force depletes. Chapter 10. The Sacred Yawn. In the halls of ancient wisdom, a simple truth lay hidden, one so natural, so fundamental, that humanity has overlooked its power for generations. Your body carries this wisdom, expressing it through what modern society often mistakes as a sign of boredom or fatigue. A woman named Ginny worked in a towering office building where she spent her days suppressing yawns during endless meetings. Like many, she believed these yawns betrayed weakness or disinterest. She would press her lips together, fighting the urge until her jaw ached and her eyes watered. Until one morning, something shifted. Perhaps it was exhaustion, or perhaps the universe conspired to teach her. During a particularly lengthy presentation, Ginny felt an overwhelming urge to yawn. This time, instead of resistance, she surrendered. As her mouth opened wide, she experienced something extraordinary. Energy spiraled through her body like a cleansing wind, awakening every cell. This moment unveils a profound truth. The yawn is not a signal of depletion, but a ceremony of renewal. When you yawn, you initiate an ancient protocol of rejuvenation, one that your ancestors knew instinctively. It is your body's natural reset button, a spontaneous meditation that aligns your physical and energetic systems. Edwin, a writer struggling with creative blocks, stumbled upon this wisdom through an unexpected path. During an evening with friends, hearty laughter led to deep, satisfying sighs. As his breath expanded fully, He felt his mind clear like a spring sky after rain. Ideas began flowing effortlessly, as if the simple act of allowing his breath to move freely had unlocked hidden chambers of creativity. The teaching reveals itself. Oxygen is the first and most essential nutrient of life. Each yawn invites a flood of fresh energy into your system, washing away stagnation and inviting vitality. This is why children yawn so freely. They haven't yet learned to resist this natural medicine. Your yawns are not interruptions to be stifled, but invitations to be embraced. They arrive as messengers of wisdom, reminding you to pause, reset, and allow fresh energy to circulate through your being. When you honor these moments, you align with an ancient rhythm of renewal that has sustained life since the dawn of time. The sacred practice. Embrace each yawn as it arrives, recognizing it as a doorway to renewal. When you feel the urge to yawn, find a quiet space if possible. Allow your mouth to open fully, your arms to stretch naturally. Feel the cool rush of air filling your lungs, imagining it carrying away any staleness or fatigue. Notice how your jaw relaxes, how your eyes might water. These are signs of deep release. Let each yawn be complete, knowing that through this simple act, you participate in one of nature's most perfect ceremonies of rejuvenation. Part 2. The Ritual of Energy. Chapter 11. The Golden Circle. In the ancient teachings, a profound secret lies within the art of boundaries, not walls built from fear, but circles drawn from wisdom. These invisible lines of self-respect carry the power to preserve your vital essence, allowing your spirit to flourish in its natural radiance. A woman named Ida walked along a quiet beach one morning, her energy depleted from months of saying yes to everyone's needs but her own. As she watched the waves create their own rhythm, advancing and retreating in perfect harmony, understanding dawned within her heart. With a fallen branch, she drew a circle in the sand around herself, large enough to stand in comfortably. As she stepped inside, she whispered an ancient truth. Within this space, my energy remains sovereign. The simple act transformed her relationship with vitality itself. The circle became more than a marking in sand. It grew into a sacred boundary between giving and preserving, between serving and sustaining. Her energy, once scattered to every passing request, began to pool and strengthen within her being. This wisdom speaks to a truth known by the mystical traditions. Energy follows attention, and boundaries direct its flow. When you establish sacred limits, you create a vessel strong enough to hold your power. Like a river needs banks to flow with force, your vitality requires conscious containment to maintain its strength. Marvin discovered this truth through a different path. For years, he had been the willing ear for office gossip, absorbing the heavy energies of complaints and criticism. His vitality leaked away through these exchanges, until one day, inspiration moved him to decline these energy-draining conversations gently. "I wish you well," he would say, "but I choose not to participate in speaking of others." With each respectful refusal, he felt his inner light grow stronger. The teaching reveals itself. Boundaries are not barriers, but sacred containers that preserve your life force. When you honor your energetic limits, you don't diminish your connection to others. You enhance it by showing up with fullness rather than depletion. This is the paradox. Proper boundaries don't isolate you, but allow you to engage more authentically with life. The ancient sages understood that energy is precious and finite in each moment, though infinite in its source. They taught that maintaining healthy boundaries was not an act of selfishness, but one of spiritual wisdom. By preserving your vital force, you ensure that what you offer to the world comes from your overflow rather than your essence. The sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Imagine yourself standing within a circle of gentle golden light. Feel its warm radiance creating a protective field around you. This is your sacred space of sovereignty. As you breathe deeply, sense how this boundary allows your natural energy to accumulate and strengthen. Notice how peaceful it feels to exist within this space of conscious choice. Throughout your day, carry this golden circle with you invisibly. When situations arise that might drain your energy, picture this boundary glowing softly, reminding you of your right to preserve your vital force. This is not a shield of fear, but a container of wisdom, allowing you to choose consciously how your energy flows. Chapter 12. The Morning Chant. In a distant valley there lived a woman named Josie who greeted each morning with whispered blessings. As golden light spilled across her windowsill, she would stretch her arms skyward and speak ancient words of gratitude. "Life flows through me," she would say, feeling each syllable dance upon her tongue. With every utterance her cells seemed to awaken, as though her words were keys unlocking wells of vitality within. The universe operates through vibration. Every thought, every word carries a frequency that shapes the fabric of existence. When you speak with intention, you participate in this cosmic orchestra. Your voice becomes an instrument of transformation, each word a note in the symphony of creation. Think of your words as seeds planted in the fertile soil of consciousness. Just as a garden responds to loving care, your body responds to the vibrations you create through speech. The ancients understood this profound truth. They knew that sacred sounds could alter the very structure of matter, that mantras could redirect the flow of life force through the body. Consider Gilbert, a humble bicycle mechanic who discovered this wisdom quite by accident. While repairing a particularly troublesome chain one afternoon, he began humming nonsensical melodies, simple sounds that brought him joy. As his voice resonated through his workshop, something remarkable occurred. The tension in his shoulders melted away, his movements became more fluid, and what had been a frustrating task transformed into a dance of harmony between man and machine. This is the power of conscious sound. It bypasses the analytical mind and speaks directly to the body's innate intelligence. When you align your voice with intention, you create ripples of renewal throughout your entire being. The cells of your body are listening, waiting to respond to the music of your words. The wisdom of sound healing appears throughout history's sacred texts. Ancient healers understood that certain tones could restore balance, that specific syllables could awaken dormant energy. They recognized that the human voice carries a unique ability to reorganize matter at the subtlest levels. Think of your speech as a paintbrush, coloring your internal landscape with each word chosen. Harsh words create dissonance within, while gentle, affirming sounds invite harmony. Your voice holds the power to sculpt your experience, to call forth vitality from the depths of your being. Practice. The resonant renewal. Find a quiet moment at dawn or dusk. Stand or sit comfortably, allowing your breath to flow naturally. Begin by humming softly, feeling the vibration in your chest. Then speak these words with gentle authority. I am renewed with each breath. Vital energy flows through me now. Let the sounds resonate through your body as you move slowly, stretching or walking. Notice how different words create different sensations within you. Practice this daily, allowing your voice to become a tool of transformation. Chapter 13. The Feast of Awareness. In a small village among rolling hills, there lived a merchant named Hazel who rushed through her days, including her meals. She would devour her food while reviewing ledgers, barely tasting what passed her lips. One evening, exhausted from her hasty habits, she sat alone with a simple bowl of soup. As steam rose before her, a strange calm descended. For the first time in years, she took one conscious spoonful, closed her eyes, and let the flavors dance on her tongue. In that moment, warmth spread through her chest like liquid sunlight. Each ingredient revealed itself: the earthiness of roots, the whisper of herbs, the embrace of broth. Her body hummed with renewed vigor as though the food carried messages of vitality itself. The universe speaks through sustenance, yet few pause to listen. Every morsel holds the potential for transformation when met with presence. Your body knows this ancient truth, that food is more than mere fuel, it is life acknowledging life. When you eat unconsciously, you miss the sacred exchange taking place, the offering of nature's energy into your very cells. Norman, a clockmaker, discovered this wisdom through desperation. Night after night he tossed sleeplessly until his physician suggested a curious remedy: to chew each bite 30 times while contemplating its origin. At first, Norman scoffed at such simplicity. But as he began this practice, something shifted. His racing thoughts settled. His body remembered how to rest. The very act of mindful eating had reset his internal rhythms. The teaching reveals itself. There is no separation between the physical and spiritual realms. Every bite carries consciousness. Every meal is an opportunity for communion with the life force that sustains all things. When you eat with awareness, you digest not just nutrients, but also the light and energy woven into your food. This is why the ancient ones blessed their meals. They understood that gratitude magnifies nourishment. Your relationship with food mirrors your relationship with life's vital force. Rushing through meals scatters energy. Eating with presence gathers it. Notice how your body responds to different approaches. The difference between hurried consumption and mindful appreciation. The same ingredients can either deplete or enliven, depending on your state of consciousness while eating. Ancient practice. Choose one meal today. Between each bite, close your eyes and feel gratitude flowing through your body. Let each morsel be a meditation, a moment of connection with the endless circle of giving and receiving that sustains all life. Notice how this simple practice transforms not just your digestion, but your entire energy field. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Cloud Walker. High in the mountains, a wise woman named Pearl lived in a cottage where storms gathered frequently. Each time dark clouds approached, her shoulders would tense and her spirit would sink, dreading the gloom that lay ahead. Yet one morning, as she watched the heavy clouds drift past her window, Something within her shifted. The clouds, though laden with rain, moved with effortless grace across the sky. They neither struggled against their weight, nor fought their journey. They simply floated, carried by unseen currents. When you resist life's natural flow, you create unnecessary burden. The universe operates through acceptance, not force. Like those clouds, your spirit knows how to navigate through density without becoming heavy. This wisdom lies dormant in your cells, waiting to be remembered. Every circumstance that appears to weigh upon you contains a hidden lesson in buoyancy. The ancient ones understood that resistance creates its own gravity, a downward pull born not from the situation itself, but from your stance toward it. When you soften your grip on how things should be, you discover an innate lightness of being. Chester, a merchant in a bustling marketplace, found this truth amidst chaos. His days overflowed with demands, haggling customers, shifting prices, endless ledgers. Initially, he met each challenge with rigid determination, until exhaustion became his constant companion. Then he remembered watching clouds as a child, how they shaped themselves to the wind without losing their essence. He began approaching his daily trials differently. When a difficult customer arrived, he imagined himself as a cloud, permeable, yet whole. When the market's noise grew overwhelming, he pictured himself floating above it all, observing without absorption. His effectiveness increased even as his effort decreased. The work remained the same, but his relationship to it transformed. This teaching whispers through ages. What you resist persists. What you embrace dissolves. Your natural state is one of ease, of flowing like water, of drifting like clouds. Tension is learned. Relaxation is remembered. The weight you carry comes not from your burdens, but from your battle with them. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment when pressure mounts. Close your eyes and envision yourself as a cloud, vast, light, and unbound. Feel how effortlessly you can float through any situation, neither fighting nor fleeing. Let your breath become like gentle wind, carrying you forward. Remember, the cloud does not question its journey. It simply flows. This is your invitation to move through life with similar grace. Chapter 15. The Hidden Music. In the bustling heart of an ancient city, a woman named Nell awakened each morning to a cacophony of sounds streaming through her window. The roar of engines, the screech of brakes, and the constant hum of humanity had long been her unwelcome companion. One dawn, as she lay in bed resisting the urban din, something extraordinary occurred. A truck's rhythmic rumble merged with a distant train's whistle, and in that moment the noise transformed into music. This awakening speaks to a fundamental truth about the nature of energy and vitality. The universe pulses with hidden harmonies, waiting for you to attune your perception. When you shift your awareness, the very vibrations that once drained your spirit become a source of renewal. Within every sound lies a sacred rhythm, a beating heart that mirrors the cosmos itself. Your body recognizes these patterns instinctively, for you are fashioned from the same universal orchestration. The traffic's flow, the whir of machines, the steady pulse of footsteps, all carry the potential to lift rather than deplete your energy. Consider Vernon, who spent his days entering data into endless spreadsheets. Initially, the monotony of his task weighed heavily upon his spirit. Yet one afternoon, as his fingers danced across the keyboard, he discovered something remarkable. The gentle tapping of keys began to flow like rain upon a tin roof. Each keystroke became a note in an emerging symphony, and his mundane task transformed into a meditation of movement. The teaching here reveals itself with elegant simplicity. Perception shapes energy. When you recognize the music hidden within the mundane, your body responds by aligning with these higher frequencies. This is not mere positive thinking. It is an ancient science of vibration that the wise ones understood. They knew that everything in existence holds a signature frequency, and by attuning yourself to these rhythms, you tap into an endless wellspring of vitality. This wisdom teaches that exhaustion often stems not from external chaos, but from resistance to life's natural percussion. When you fight against the rhythms surrounding you, you create discord within. Yet when you open yourself to the symphony of existence, even the most jarring sounds can become instruments of renewal. Practice. As you move through your day, listen deeply for the rhythm that pulses beneath surface noise. Let your body sway gently to traffic's ebb and flow. Feel the beat in typing fingers, in footsteps, in the hum of electronics. Allow your movements to synchronize with these hidden melodies until resistance dissolves into dance. For in this practice, you discover that the world itself is an invitation to move in harmony with life's endless song. Chapter 16. The Inner Smile. In a quiet monastery among misty mountains, a wise woman taught pilgrims to smile from deep within their being. Not the superficial smile that graces lips alone, but one that originates from the core of existence. This ancient wisdom now reaches across time to touch your understanding. The body contains untold reservoirs of vitality, waiting to be awakened by the simplest of gestures. When you smile from within, you initiate a cascade of transformation that flows through every organ, every tissue, every cell. This is not metaphor, but medicine of the most profound kind. Consider how Sadie discovered this truth. Each morning she would sit quietly and direct her smile inward, beginning with her liver, that ancient seat of emotion the sages spoke of. As she practiced this inner radiance, her entire being began to shift. The biochemistry of joy spread through her body like golden light, touching each organ with renewed vigor. This wisdom echoes through the halls of time. Emotion shapes matter. Your feelings are not mere whispers in the mind, but powerful architects of your physical form. When you smile from within, you command the very chemistry of your cells. Leonard's story mirrors this truth. Age had begun to settle in his joints until he learned to smile while moving. Each morning, as he stretched his arms toward the sky, he would kindle that inner smile. Gradually, the stiffness that had taken residence in his body began to dissolve. His movements became fluid again, reminiscent of childhood ease. The teaching reveals itself. Gravity loses its hold when met with genuine joy. Your cells remember their original lightness when bathed in the biochemistry of delight. This is not temporary relief, but profound recalibration. The monks understood that youth is not chronological, but vibrational. Their practices weren't aimed at defying age, but transcending its limitations through inner alchemy. That same wisdom awaits your discovery. Ancient practice. Before any physical movement, pause to kindle a smile from your deepest core. Let it begin as a warm glow in your liver, spreading outward like sunrise. Feel each cell awakening to this internal light. Move only when you sense your entire being suffused with this gentle radiance. Notice how your body responds differently when bathed in joy's chemistry. This is not exercise, but celebration. Not movement, but dance. Chapter 17. Light on the Spine. Within each vessel of your being flows an ancient river of light, waiting to be remembered. Through ages past, the wisest healers understood that a smile born in the depths of your organs holds more power than any medicine. This truth reveals itself through layers of cellular memory, awakening what your body has always known. Through every tissue and sinew runs an intricate network of energy, not mere metaphor, but the very essence of life itself. When you direct your inner smile through these pathways, you speak to your body in its primordial language. Each organ responds to this silent conversation, this gentle awakening of joy. Etta discovered this sacred truth during her morning devotions. As she moved in prayer, she began to sense a luminous current ascending her spine. This wasn't imagination, but rather an awakening to what had always been there. With each breath, she felt this radiance growing stronger, transforming her movements into flowing light. Her body responded not to force, but to the gentle suggestion of illumination. The ancient teachings speak of this phenomenon, how consciousness shapes the very structure of our physical form. When you bathe your spine in light, your body naturally aligns with its highest potential. This is the wisdom that Milton stumbled upon one evening as he lay in contemplation. Visualizing a golden sun rising from the base of his spine to the crown of his head, he allowed this inner radiance to realign his entire being. The next morning, he stood taller, moved with greater ease, as though his body had remembered its natural state of grace. This transformation occurs because your subconscious mind responds to images of light and elevation. When you cultivate this inner radiance, your nervous system follows, creating new patterns of movement and posture. Your body becomes a temple of light, each vertebra a golden step toward heaven. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space and stand with your feet gently rooted to the earth. Close your eyes and sense the base of your spine. Begin to visualize a warm, golden light awakening there. With each breath, allow this radiance to rise higher, vertebra by vertebra, like a sun climbing the morning sky. Feel your spine growing taller, your posture naturally aligning as this light ascends. Let this radiance reach the crown of your head, creating a bridge between earth and sky within you. Maintain this practice for several minutes, allowing your body to bathe in this transformative light. Chapter 18. The Blessing Gesture. In the silence before dawn, a truth whispers through the ages. Your hands hold power beyond mere function. They are vessels of blessing, channels through which spirit flows into matter. This wisdom, as old as the first prayer, transforms every gesture into sacred ceremony. Opal discovered this ancient secret in her kitchen one morning. As sunlight painted her countertop gold, she paused before reaching for her cooking tools. Something stirred in her heart, a remembrance of old ways. She lifted her hands before her eyes, studying them as if for the first time. Then, with gentle reverence, she blessed them, a simple act of gratitude and intention. As she worked, something shifted. The vegetables seemed to yield more easily to her knife. The herbs released their fragrance more generously. Even the heat of the stove felt different, as though it danced in harmony with her movements. Her meals, always nourishing, now carried in subtle energy that her family noticed but couldn't quite name. It wasn't mere skill that had changed. It was the very essence of her interaction with the elements of cooking. The teaching reveals itself. When you bless what serves you, you open channels of vitality that transform ordinary action into sacred alchemy. Your body responds to this recognition, this honoring of its service. Each cell awakens to its divine purpose, and fatigue gives way to flowing grace. Hubert stumbled upon this same truth during his morning exercise routine. Age had begun to whisper warnings through his knees, and running had become a negotiation with discomfort. One morning, moved by intuition, he placed his hands upon his knees and blessed them, thanking them for their years of faithful service, acknowledging their wisdom and strength. To his amazement, his usual stiffness melted away. His jog that morning felt different, lighter, more harmonious. It wasn't that his knees had suddenly grown younger. Rather, he had established a new relationship with them. Instead of demanding performance, he had invited partnership. His body responded to this shift in consciousness with renewed vigor and ease. This is not mere ritual. It is the activation of ancient knowing within your cells. When you bless any part of your body, you speak to it in the language of love and recognition. You acknowledge its divine intelligence, its inherent wisdom. In return, it offers its service not from obligation, but from joyful cooperation. Ancient practice. Before any physical activity, pause and place your hands upon the part of your body that will be most engaged. Close your eyes and offer a silent blessing, a recognition of its service, an acknowledgement of its wisdom. Feel gratitude flowing through your touch. Notice how your body responds to this sacred attention. Let each movement that follows arise from this place of blessed partnership. This simple practice transforms effort into grace, demand into dance. This shift in relationship with your body awakens the sacred in the ordinary, revealing that every action can be a prayer, every movement a blessing. Chapter 19. The Circle of Rest. In the high mountains of ancient times, a weary traveler encountered an aging hermit who moved with the grace of flowing water. When asked his secret, the hermit smiled and pointed to a nearby rock where he sat in perfect stillness. "In pause," he said, "lies the seed of all movement. Between each breath, between each heartbeat, exists a space of infinite potential." This truth, passed down through generations of mystics, reveals that stillness is not the absence of energy, but its very source. You have been taught that constant motion equals vitality, that rest signals surrender to age. Yet within the sacred rhythms of existence, pause and movement dance as equal partners in life's eternal symphony. Betty, a woman who filled every moment with activity, found herself exhausted despite her perpetual motion. Her garden suffered neglect, her joy dimmed, until one afternoon when fatigue forced her to the ground beneath an old oak tree. As she lay there, something remarkable occurred. Her body began to speak in the language of sensation. Each muscle unwound its stories, each joint released its holding. In that holy stillness, she felt energy returning, not through effort, but through surrender. The wisdom was clear. The body knows how to restore itself when given sacred space. Like soil that must lie fallow to regain fertility, your physical form requires periods of conscious rest to regenerate its vital force. Floydine made this discovery in her own way. A teacher who prided herself on tireless dedication, she viewed napping as a sign of weakness. Yet one Sunday afternoon, as golden light streamed through her window, she allowed herself to rest. Upon waking, she experienced such clarity and vigor that she realized rest was not laziness, but transformation, a baptism in the waters of renewal. These moments of conscious pause are not gaps in living, but doorways to vitality. When you honor stillness, you align with the natural cycles of restoration that govern all life. Every flower knows when to close its petals, every tree when to shed its leaves. Your body holds this same wisdom. Ancient practice. When weariness calls, answer it with reverence. Find a quiet space and lie down with full awareness. Begin at your feet, offering gratitude to each part of your body for its service. Let your breath become soft, like distant waves on a peaceful shore. Allow stillness to become your teacher, showing you that in sacred pause lies the secret of eternal movement. Rest here until you feel the quiet stirring of renewed energy, knowing that in this holy stillness you are not aging, you are being reborn. Chapter 20. The Candle of Focus. When you understand the sacred nature of rest, you unlock one of the universe's most potent secrets. The body holds ancient wisdom that speaks through the language of fatigue. Floydine, a master craftswoman, once believed her worth lay in constant productivity. Each evening found her bent over her workbench, fighting exhaustion with determination. But transformation arrived in an unexpected form, a midday drowsiness she could no longer ignore. Initially, she resisted these periods of rest, seeing them as weakness. Yet one afternoon, instead of reaching for stimulation, she surrendered to a brief sleep. Upon waking, she discovered her hands steadier, her mind clearer, her craft more precise. This simple act revealed a profound truth. Rest is not the enemy of accomplishment, but its devoted ally. The ancient ones knew that life moves in cycles, like the moon waxing and waning, like flowers opening and closing. When you honor these natural rhythms, you align with the universe's deeper currents. Each moment of conscious rest becomes a baptism in renewal, washing away the accumulated tension that ages the spirit. Think of your energy not as a finite resource to be hoarded, but as a flowing river that requires both movement and stillness. In the spaces between activity, your body performs its most sacred work: regeneration, restoration, rebirth. These are not moments of weakness, but opportunities for profound strengthening. When weariness calls, respond not with resistance but with reverence. Lie down with purpose, transforming rest from mere unconsciousness into active renewal. Thank each limb for its service. Acknowledge each muscle's contribution. Feel how the earth rises to support you, how gravity becomes a gentle embrace rather than a force to fight. In this sacred pause, you tap into the same source that rejuvenates the sleeping seed before it bursts into spring bloom. This is not surrender to age, but alignment with life's eternal rhythm. Each conscious rest becomes a doorway through which fresh vitality flows. Practice of sacred rest. Find a comfortable space where you can lie undisturbed. As you recline, consciously thank each part of your body for its service. Let your awareness float gently through your form, blessing each area with acceptance. Rest here not in guilt, but in wisdom, knowing that in this holy pause you participate in life's deepest renewal. This is not sleep of exhaustion, but the sacred stillness from which all energy springs forth renewed. Part 3. The Eternal Motion. Chapter 21. The Path of Play. In the quietest corners of ancient wisdom lies a truth so simple it often eludes those who seek it. The fountain of youth flows through channels of playfulness. This knowledge comes not from dusty tomes or sacred scrolls, but from the laughter that bubbles up unbidden when the heart remembers its original lightness. Elsie discovered this one gray morning as she stood in her long hallway, looking at the stretch before her. For years, she had walked these floors with measured steps, carrying the weight of proper adulthood. But on this day, something stirred within, a memory of skipping, of the pure joy of unnecessary bounce. Without thinking, she lifted her heels and began to skip. In that moment, something remarkable occurred. Her joints, which had grown accustomed to complaint, remembered their original purpose. Her muscles, long held in the prison of propriety, broke free into dance. With each skip, years seemed to fall away like autumn leaves, revealing the evergreen spirit beneath. The wisdom reveals itself. Aging accelerates in the presence of excessive seriousness. When gravity becomes not just a physical force, but an emotional weight, it bends both body and spirit. Yet play possesses the power to unwrite these heavy scripts that time has penned upon our lives. Byron's tale mirrors this truth. Having spent decades behind a banker's desk, he found himself one day at the beach, watching children build sandcastles. Their pure absorption in creation for creation's sake awakened something in him. Without planning or purpose, he knelt in the sand and began to build. Hours passed like minutes as he crafted towers and moats, his hands remembering a joy his mind had forgotten. What transformed in Byron was not his calendar age, but his relationship with time itself. In play, he rediscovered that state where past and future dissolve into the eternal now. His back, usually stiff from years at a desk, moved with fluid ease as he shaped the sand. His face, typically set in lines of serious thought, softened into expressions of wonder. These stories speak to a profound truth. The divine force that moves through all things never ceases its play. Look at how stars dance through space, how waves chase each other to shore, how wind makes music through leaves. All of nature engages in what appears to be unnecessary beauty, excessive movement, gratuitous joy. The practice of divine play. Choose one moment today to engage in pure play. Skip down a hallway, build something without purpose, dance when no one is watching. Let your body remember its original lightness. As you move, feel how play dissolves the artificial boundary between sacred and ordinary, between young and old. In this playful moment, you align with the eternal child within, the one who knows that joy is not frivolous, but fundamental to the soul's vitality. Chapter 22. The Garden of Forgiveness. In a small village among ancient hills there lived a woman named Rose who carried regrets like heavy stones in her heart. Each morning she would wake feeling the weight of past mistakes pressing against her chest, making even the simplest movements feel laborious. Her shoulders hunched under invisible burdens, and her steps grew heavier with each passing season. The weight of blame had become her constant companion, until one morning when she witnessed a leaf falling from a tree. It drifted without resistance, accepting its journey downward with perfect grace. In that moment, something stirred within Rose's heart, a recognition that perhaps she too could release what she held so tightly. As she watched the leaf settle gently upon the earth, Rose began to understand the profound teaching that had eluded her. Forgiveness is not merely an emotional act, but a physical liberation. With each conscious breath, she allowed herself to loosen the grip on old hurts, feeling how blame had created patterns of tension in her body that years of physical remedy could not touch. The wisdom reveals itself. When we hold on to grievances, our bodies become storage houses for pain. Our muscles contract around memories. Our joints stiffen with unspoken words. But in the moment we choose to forgive, we release not only the emotional burden, but also its physical manifestation. Clydene's story mirrors this truth. For years, she blamed herself for a love that didn't flourish, carrying shame in her joints until they grew stiff and painful. Her arthritis seemed beyond the reach of medicine until she discovered that self-forgiveness could accomplish what pills could not. One evening, while sitting in her garden, she finally spoke kindly to her younger self, extending the same compassion she would offer a friend. As she did so, something shifted, not just in her heart, but in her bones. The next morning, her fingers moved with a flexibility they hadn't known in years. These stories illuminate an essential truth. Our bodies hold the physical imprint of our emotional state. Resentment becomes rigid muscles, blame transforms into back pain, and self-judgment manifests as tension. Yet the opposite is equally true. Forgiveness flows through the body like warm sunlight, melting away the accumulated frost of old hurts. Ancient practice. Tonight, find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and bring to mind someone toward whom you hold blame, including yourself. Whisper words of forgiveness silently, noticing how your shoulders respond, how your breath deepens, how space opens within your chest. Let this practice become a physical prayer, allowing grace to restore the natural rhythm of your movement. Feel how forgiveness literally lightens your body, returning it to its original state of fluid ease. Chapter 23. The Still Flame. In the shadow-wrapped hours before dawn, Lillian sat cross-legged before a single flame. The candlelight's gentle sway caught her attention, and as she watched its subtle dance, a profound truth unveiled itself. Within the flame's apparent stillness lay an endless symphony of motion, particles rising, falling, transforming in an eternal waltz. This sacred observation awakens an ancient wisdom. True vitality dwells not in constant action, but in the exquisite balance between movement and stillness. Like the space between heartbeats or the pause between breaths, these moments of quiet hold the seeds of renewal. The universe speaks through such moments of pristine attention. When you witness the delicate interplay between stillness and motion, you touch the infinite source of all energy. This is not mere rest, but rather a gateway to the wellspring of life itself. Consider how a tree stands unmoved, yet pulses with life-giving sap, or how a mountain's majesty lies not in its movement, but in its unwavering presence. These are not examples of stagnation, but of power held in perfect poise. Amos discovered this truth while practicing his evening piano sonatas. Between the notes, in those precious moments of silence, he found his fingers growing more nimble, his mind more clear. The spaces between the music became as vital as the melody itself. His awareness sharpened not through endless practice, but through honoring these subtle intervals of quiet. These teachings echo an ageless truth. Silence is not empty, but full. When you learn to rest in stillness, you tap into the very current of existence. This is why the wise ones of old spoke of meditation not as absence, but as presence, a dynamic state where inner movement reveals itself. The secret lies in understanding that stillness and motion are not opponents, but dance partners in the grand choreography of life. One cannot exist without the other, just as day requires night, and breath requires both inhale and exhale. Ancient practice, the still point. Find a quiet space and seat yourself comfortably. Allow your attention to rest upon the subtle movements within apparent stillness, the gentle rise and fall of your chest, the whisper of air across your skin, the quiet thrum of life in your veins. Remain here until you sense the living presence that dwells in motionless moments. Let this awareness infuse your being until you recognize that true vitality flows not from constant motion, but from the harmonious dance between movement and rest. Chapter 24. The Sacred Echo. In the cool morning air, Georgia stood at the canyon's edge, her voice carrying across the vast expanse. As she spoke words of strength and vitality into the silence, each affirmation returned to her, magnified by nature's acoustic embrace. With each echo, she felt the truth grow stronger within her bones. That which we declare to the universe returns multiplied. The ancient wisdom reveals that your words shape the very fabric of existence. When you speak of limitation, the universe conspires to manifest boundaries. Yet, when you declare vitality, abundance flows like a river finding its natural course. Your thoughts and declarations are seeds planted in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. Clifton discovered this truth through a simple practice of speaking kindness to others. Each morning, he greeted his neighbors with genuine warmth, and soon found himself surrounded by a community that radiated care and compassion. His energy flourished not through force, but through the natural law of reciprocity. What we give voice to creates ripples that return as waves. The universe operates as a perfect mirror, reflecting back the essence of our declarations. When you proclaim strength, strength answers. When you speak of renewal, renewal awakens within your cells. This is not mere coincidence, but the operation of an eternal principle, the law of resonant creation. Just as a canyon amplifies sound, existence amplifies intention. Your words carry creative force, shaping reality through vibration and meaning. Each declaration sends forth waves of energy that orchestrate circumstances, attract possibilities, and influence the very substance of life itself. The second story tells of an elder named Thomas, who whispered gratitude to his garden each morning. Others noticed how his plants seemed to thrive beyond natural expectation, how vegetables grew more abundant, flowers bloomed longer. He understood that appreciation voiced becomes appreciation multiplied. His garden reflected the loving attention he spoke into it, just as your life reflects the quality of your declarations. This truth speaks directly to your journey. The words you use about your body, your energy, your potential, these are not merely descriptions, but prescriptions. They program the field of infinite possibility that surrounds you. Every cell listens. Every atom responds to the vibration of your chosen declarations. Sacred practice. Sit in quietness and speak gentle words of appreciation to your body. Thank your heart for its faithful beating, your lungs for their constant breath, your muscles for their willing service. Make this a daily ritual, speaking to your body as you would to a beloved friend. Watch how your cells respond to this tender attention, how vitality rises to meet your loving declarations. For in this practice lies one of the most profound secrets of ageless living. Praise awakens the eternal youth that sleeps within. End of Chapter 24. Chapter 25. The Invisible Teacher. In a world filled with countless voices offering guidance, June spent years searching for someone to show her the path to vitality. She traveled to distant temples, studied with renowned masters, and collected wisdom from ancient texts. Yet one morning, as she sat in quiet meditation, she discovered the most profound teacher had been with her all along, her own breath. With each inhale and exhale, her breath revealed the natural rhythm of life. It showed her when to move and when to rest, when to expand and when to contract. In its steady presence, she found the wisdom that had eluded her in all her searching. The universe speaks through the subtlest of signs, and the greatest teachings often arrive through life's most ordinary moments. Your breath carries messages from the infinite, whispering secrets of vitality in a language more ancient than words. Virgil understood this truth while performing the simple task of washing dishes. As his hands moved through the warm water, a gentle voice within guided his movements. Slower, it seemed to say. Feel the warmth. Notice the circles your hands make. In following these subtle promptings, he discovered that everyday actions could become sacred dances of renewal. Each movement contained a lesson. Each gesture held hidden wisdom. The circular motion of drying plates taught him about life's natural cycles. The patient rhythm of stacking and storing revealed the power of measured action. Through listening to this inner guidance, his entire day transformed into a moving meditation. The greatest master resides within you, speaking through intuition, movement, and the quiet voice of knowing. This teacher never sleeps, never tires of showing you the way. It communicates through the body's wisdom, through moments of clarity that arise unbidden, through the natural intelligence that flows through your very being. Your inner mentor knows the perfect pace for your unique journey. It understands when you need rest and when you need activation. This wisdom flows not from external authority, but from the divine spark that animates your every cell. The story of the potter. Amelia reveals this truth further. For years she struggled to perfect her craft until she learned to close her eyes and let her hands remember their ancient knowing. The clay itself became her teacher, its responsiveness guiding her fingers in a dance as old as creation. She discovered that mastery comes not from forcing, but from listening to the wisdom that already lives in your hands. This wellspring of guidance lives within you, waiting to be acknowledged. Your body holds the accumulated wisdom of countless generations. Your cells carry the knowledge of the stars. When you learn to listen, every moment becomes instruction, every breath a lesson in living fully. Sacred practice. As you prepare for sleep tonight, turn inward with this simple request. Show me how to move in harmony with life's deepest rhythms. Trust that your inner teacher will respond through dreams, through morning inspirations, through subtle promptings that arise throughout your day. The wisdom you seek already lives within you, waiting to guide your every step in the dance of life. Chapter 26. The Open Sky. Long ago, in a village among towering mountains, there lived a woman named Minnie who spent her days hunched over her work, her world shrinking to the size of her tasks. Each morning she would wake feeling smaller, more compressed by life's weight. Until one dawn, a bird's song drew her eyes skyward. In that simple act of looking up, something within her shifted. Her spine naturally elongated, her shoulders relaxed, and her breath deepened. The vast expanse above seemed to pull her upward, as if invisible threads connected her being to the infinite above. This truth echoes through the ages. Your vision shapes your vessel. When you direct your gaze downward, your body follows, contracting into itself. But when you lift your eyes to the expansive sky, your entire being responds to that vastness. Your nervous system awakens to possibility. Your cells remember their connection to the infinite. Ira discovered this wisdom while walking mountain paths. At first, he focused only on his feet, watching each step with careful attention. But one morning, he raised his eyes to the distant horizon. As his vision expanded to embrace the panorama before him, his spine naturally straightened, his chest opened, and his stride became more fluid. The breadth of his vision transformed the quality of his movement. This ancient teaching reveals that your body responds to what you behold. When you consistently direct your attention upward and outward, you invite your physical form to expand beyond its habitual patterns. The simple act of looking up activates neural pathways that encourage length, lightness, and ease throughout your entire system. The horizon holds a particular power. It represents the meeting place of earth and sky, the perfect balance of grounding and uplift. As you align your spine with this natural breadth, you tap into the same force that allows trees to grow tall while remaining deeply rooted. Ancient practice. Throughout your day, pause several times to lift your gaze skyward. Allow the space above to gently draw your spine upward, creating natural length without effort. Feel how this simple shift in perspective invites your whole being to expand into its full potential. Let the vast expanse above remind you of your own limitless nature. Chapter 27. Hands of Compassion. In a quiet village beneath ancient oaks, there lived a woman named Sylvie who spent her days nursing wounded creatures back to health. Her hands, once stiff with arthritis, would tremble as she bandaged injured wings and soothed frightened hearts. Yet with each gentle touch offered to these innocent beings, something miraculous began to unfold. The gift of healing flowed not only to the animals, but returned to course through her own body. Her joints, which had grown rigid with age, began to move with surprising ease. The more she gave of herself, the more vitality seemed to fill her frame, as though compassion itself was medicine. This truth lies at the heart of the universe's most sacred laws, that giving and receiving are not separate actions, but one circular motion, eternal as the breath itself. When you extend yourself in service, you align with life's fundamental rhythm. This alignment awakens dormant energies within your being, transforming stagnation into flow. In another village, a woman named Vernonette discovered this same principle through different means. Her fingers would dance with wool and needles late into the evening, crafting scarves she would leave anonymously for strangers to find. As her creations multiplied, so did her peace. The insomnia that had plagued her for years dissolved into restful slumber. This is no mere coincidence. When you give without expectation of return, you activate ancient channels of energy that modern science is only beginning to understand. Your endocrine system responds to generosity by releasing hormones that promote healing and renewal. The very act of giving massages your internal organs with waves of serenity. The wisdom of the ages whispers that true youth springs not from what we grasp, but from what we release. Every act of kindness sends ripples through the fabric of existence, returning to us multiplied. This is the alchemy of the heart, transforming simple acts of care into golden threads of vitality. Ancient practice. As the sun rises tomorrow, perform one act of kindness without revealing yourself as its source. It need not be grand. Perhaps leave flowers on a doorstep or write an anonymous note of encouragement. After completing your gift, find a quiet moment to sit and observe. Notice the warm glow that spreads through your arms and chest. This is not merely emotion. It is life force itself, circulating through your being, renewing your cells with the eternal youth of an open heart. Chapter 28. The River Revisited. In the depths of an ancient valley, beneath towering pines that whispered secrets of time, there lived a woman who returned to the stream of her youth. Each morning, Bernice would walk the familiar path where childhood memories danced like sunlight on water. The stream, once wide and swift in her memories, had grown gentler with passing seasons. Yet, in its peaceful flow, she discovered a truth that would transform her understanding of vitality. The stream had changed. Rocks had shifted, banks had eroded, trees had fallen across its path. But through every obstacle, the water continued its eternal journey, adapting and flowing without resistance. In this endless motion, Bernice recognized the deeper wisdom of aging gracefully. The teaching emerges clear as mountain water. Longevity dwells not in remaining unchanged, but in maintaining flow through all transformations. Just as the stream accepts new channels while keeping its essential nature, your body holds the capacity to move through time with grace and fluidity. Wallace, a wanderer who often passed through the valley, embodied this truth without knowing he taught it. One afternoon, as Bernice watched from her perch by the water's edge, Wallace removed his shoes and began to dance along the shoreline. His movements, uninhibited by thought of age or dignity, merged with the stream's rhythm. Joy recognized itself in motion, not the quick steps of youth, but the knowing dance of experience. Their stories mirror the eternal truth. The body, like the stream, remains vital through continuous movement. Change does not diminish its essence. Rather, adaptation strengthens its flow. Every bend in the river's course adds to its song, just as every year of life deepens the soul's melody. The stream teaches that strength lies not in resisting time's current, but in flowing with it. Your vitality, like water, cannot be truly measured in years, but in the grace with which you move through them. Each moment offers a choice, to fight against change or to dance with it, finding new pathways for life's expression. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Breathe deeply as you envision yourself as an endless stream, flowing unbroken through all seasons. Let your consciousness become the water, fluid, continuous, ever-moving. Feel how this stream of being adapts to every obstacle, finding new channels while maintaining its essential nature. Hold this vision for several breaths, allowing your body to remember its own flowing wisdom. Chapter 29. The Temple Inside. Along the winding path to an ancient shrine, a woman paused to observe her reflection in a still pool. The water mirrored not just her outer form, but rippled with the essence of her inner state. As she watched, understanding bloomed like a lotus at dawn. The secret lies not in battling time, but in treating each movement as sacred ceremony. Your body is more than flesh and bone. It is a living temple, sanctified by every breath, every gesture, every moment of conscious presence. When you walk with reverence through this temple, its pillars strengthen, its windows brighten, its foundations deepen. Evelyn discovered this truth one morning while preparing for her day. Rather than rushing through her routine, she began to move as though performing ritual. Each stretch became a prayer, each step a blessing. She noticed how her shoulders naturally aligned when she regarded her form with reverence rather than judgment. Her movements grew more graceful, not through effort, but through respect. In his garden, Conrad felt this same transformation while tending to his beloved trees. As he reached up to trim branches, he sensed himself as part of nature's sacred architecture. His body responded to this awareness, releasing tension he didn't know he carried. The simple act of pruning became a dance of devotion, and his spine lengthened naturally in response. This wisdom echoes through the ages. When you honor the temple of your being, it honors you in return. Youth springs not from desperate grasping, but from deep reverence. Your cells respond to respect like flowers turning toward sunlight. Each mindful movement becomes an offering, each conscious breath a hymn. Consider how temples endure through centuries, not through resistance to time, but through the constant renewal of sacred purpose. Your body holds this same potential for timeless dignity. When you move with reverence, age becomes not an enemy, but a path to deeper grace. The practice, move today as though walking inside sacred architecture, quiet, proud, alive. Let each step be a conscious celebration of the temple that houses your spirit. Feel how this awareness naturally aligns your posture and brightens your presence. In this sacred attention, discover how reverence itself becomes a fountain of renewal. Chapter 30. The Return of Lightness. In the depths of a velvet night, Nancy stood beneath the vast canopy of stars. The same sky that had witnessed countless generations now watched as she rediscovered a truth as ancient as the cosmos itself. Like scattered diamonds on dark silk, the stars seemed to whisper of eternal motion, of dance that never ceases. Your body carries the memory of stars within its very atoms. When you move with spontaneous joy, you awaken this celestial heritage. The universe itself is an endless dance of creation, and you are its living expression. Nancy's laughter rose like silver bells as she began to twirl, caring nothing for who might see. In that moment, she embodied what the ancient masters knew, that joy is the most natural state of being, and movement its purest expression. Her body remembered what her mind had forgotten, the lightness of being that comes when self-consciousness dissolves into pure celebration. The teaching reveals itself. Age is not a sentence but a suggestion. When spirit leads the dance, the body follows with surprising agility. Like flowers turning toward light, your cells respond to joy with renewed vitality. This is not about reclaiming lost youth, but remembering the timeless essence that has always been yours. Sherman discovered this truth in his own way. His guitar had gathered dust in the corner, a relic of younger days. But one evening, without thought or plan, his hands reached for those strings. As music flowed through his fingers, time seemed to lose its rigid grip. His joints, which had grown stiff with disuse, remembered their fluid grace. It wasn't practice that freed his movement. It was permission. This wisdom echoes through every culture that understood the sacred nature of spontaneous movement. The whirling dervishes knew it. The Tai Chi masters embodied it. The tribal dancers celebrated it. When you move from joy rather than obligation, you tap into an ageless current of vitality. Your body is not meant to be a cage of limitation, but a vessel of light. Like stars that have danced through space for billions of years, you carry within you the capacity for eternal motion. It is not about defying gravity, but rather dancing with it, allowing your movements to become offerings to the vast mystery of existence. The practice. Move tonight like starlight borrowed in human form. Let joy telegraph through limbs as dawn of renewed being. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. The wisdom you have uncovered through these chapters does not belong to any single tradition or time. It flows through the ancient stories of movement masters, through the daily revelations of those who discovered vitality hiding in plain sight, and now through your own awakening consciousness. What you hold is not merely a collection of teachings, but a mirror reflecting the eternal dance of life itself. Each breath, each gesture, each moment of conscious movement aligns you with the universe's perpetual flow. You have always known this truth in your bones. It whispers in every heartbeat, in every cell that remembers its celestial origins. The secret of ageless movement was never lost. It was simply waiting for you to recognize it again. Like a stream that never tires of its journey, like leaves that dance effortlessly in the wind, your body knows the way of natural motion. When you align with this innate wisdom, fatigue dissolves into fluidity, and effort transforms into grace. You need not seek exotic practices or complex rituals. The path to renewed vitality lies in the simple act of moving with awareness, blessing each gesture with attention, and allowing joy to guide your steps. Your body responds not to the passing of years, but to the quality of consciousness you bring to movement. The monks, who seemed to defy age, did not possess supernatural powers. They simply remembered what you are now remembering. That motion aligned with spirit creates its own kind of youth. They discovered, as you have, that when movement becomes meditation, the body sheds its accumulated weariness and rediscovers its original lightness. This is not about turning back time, but about stepping outside its rigid constraints. You have not learned to be young again. You have remembered that you never truly aged. The calendar may mark the passing years, but your essence remains as timeless as the dance of creation itself.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.